Cat Anderson. We're at the door, and you're going to let us in. Tess! What, you mean you're actually downstairs? And getting more agitated by the second. Are you going to open the door or not? Of course.
Access confirmed.
That door better be open when I get up there. I'll be waiting for you. Yeah. You have some serious explaining to do, you know that? Trying to earn a living here, Tess. And Vic has me fully booked with cases. Crap. Total crap. You tell him your timeline's not the other way around. He only gained his profile because of you and Natalie. Don't you ever let him forget it. I do recall a conversation along those lines, but somehow it didn't work out the way you're suggesting.
And I'm going to suggest something else. Drop INN and go back to what you were best at. Freelance. There are dozens of smaller agencies that'd trample each other to get you feeding them stories.
Maybe, but I kind of feel responsible for getting Natalie off on the right foot at INN. Who are you kidding? Natalie has the whole organization eating out of her hand. And Vic is so starstruck he's walking around in a daze all day. Next time he asks you to take a case, tell him you're too busy. Spending time with us. Do you realize it's been over a week? How many calls I've made that you just ignored? God, has it been that long? I'm so sorry, Tess. You know how I can get caught up in what I'm doing. Not acceptable. With the exception of Jack and all he represents, anyone with eyes or ears on this planet knows who you are. Has at least some vague idea of what you've done. You have your pick of jobs, Kat. And money should not be a problem again, ever. Alex, can I steal this woman away from you for a few days? I really need her around to keep me from getting lost in my own world.
Anything to get her off my back. Ah!
You better watch yourself. You've already burned a few bridges in the past month. I can be referee if you two want to duel it out.
Not a chance. That was the two of you, the sparring soulmates. I'd be thoroughly trounced. But seriously, Kat, you help keep this partner of mine balanced. She's got more than a little unstable without you. Must be some kind of drug you give off that I just don't have.
I know what you mean, and it works both ways. How do we fix that? Daily visits, workouts, lunches, whatever the hell it takes. But none of this week-off business. We need each other, Kat. All right, we'll sit down and map out a schedule that... Schedule? Kat, I'm the one with the schedule. You know, medical intern and all that. Better. I call or show up, you come. Barring unforeseen, impossible circumstance. God, I've missed you, Tess.
And now that the happy couple are back together...
Yeah, you missed even that. We set a date. 3 weeks. That's fantastic! Who's invited? Well, until this moment, everyone except you. But now that you've officially got down on your knees and begged...
We're only inviting family, Kat. You and Natalie are our witnesses. And if you'd like to invite anyone...
I think Miguel would be honored, but it's up to you. And of course we could invite... Not a chance. You persist in that perverse little escapade for your own... I don't know what to call it. Amusement? Masochistic pleasure? I just don't understand it. And you probably never will. There's this class of people I work with, more often than I care to admit, who literally do not see reality the same way we do. You do investigative journalism, and most often, those are your clients. Your bread and butter. They make up 90% of the population, Tess. I know. I deal with patients every day, but I still don't see why it legitimizes me, in their eyes. Whatever else Jack is, the word asshole coming to mind relatively easily, he's well known and well respected in a certain social group, the one I deal with day in and day out. When I'm not trying to bring down major corporations, so you hang around with a total jerk just so you'll fit in? Because it's normal in his world for guys to treat women like possessions? The whole thing's getting tired, I admit. Only so much pretending I can do. But it's opened a lot of doors for me over the past 8 months or so, without my having to resort to breaking and entering. Not a problem for you anymore, and you know it. Still, in the end, it's up to you. Just remember, we're here. Alex and I. And we, Kat, are your friends. How could I forget that? Well, either you forgot it or just pushed it out of your mind, because you're not going to let that happen again, right? You'll just call and I'll come. Or else you'll break down the door and spirit me away. Something like that. Speaking of which... Kit, it's Katja. Sister, so good to hear from you. Good and not so good. At least, I think. Why, is everything alright with you? Tessa? Alexei? Yes, we're all... fine. I am perhaps having too much work, not enough time for my friends, and they are not too happy about it. More to the point, neither are you. You know. So, you have fallen into the same trap? Discussing it as we speak. And Tess is straightening me out, thank God. We don't deserve to have friends like her, Katja. She's truly part of our spirit. More than I can express, but I have needed her very much these past few hours, Kat. Because I am feeling great distress, anguish I cannot explain. Is it coming through our connection? Our light link? Either that or just my intuition. My sense that there is something in our future about to happen that is not good. I cannot tell. But now that I am acknowledging it, I realize that I've been feeling this for quite a while. Days, even weeks. And maybe the reason I was burying myself in my work so fully was to suppress those fears, push them to the back of your mind, ignore them to the extent that it's possible. Yes, Katja, now that you've told me, I think you're right. We sense danger, and until it looms so large, it becomes so imminent that it sends involuntary shivers through us. We try to pretend it isn't there, distract ourselves from the truth. Nobody has ever been able to do the things we can do, Kat, as far as we know. But for thousands of years, people have experienced a sense of foreboding, foreshadowing of things to come. Talked about this sixth sense. Maybe all the time, they've just been feeling what we are now. Without the light, Katja, or the ability to actually share with each other, you, me, my other sisters, because we can actually do something about this, or at least we can try, find out what it is that's setting us on edge, and navigate around it if we can. Could you? Kat, it has become very hard, knowing but not knowing how to prepare or adjust so that whatever it is, we are as ready as we can be. I'm on it, Katja. Whatever it is, it's got to be coming from your future, or at least from one of our sisters who is ahead of you in time. But this affects us all. I'll find out, Katja. Leave it to me. Thank you, sister. Be careful. I've begun to think that word has no meaning anymore. But to the extent that I can, I will. See you soon, my sister self. Kat, you want some sister-sharing adventure in the middle of our conversation? Exactly. And unfortunately, I've got to go to see what's really happening, because it could affect us all. You're going to do the step out and step back a moment later thing, right, Kat? We have unfinished business, and it involves lunch. You know, food, drink, conversation with friends. Did anyone ever tell you you're the best thing that could ever happen to a person?
Every single day, Kat.
Then, you're the right man in the right place, Alex. And I, lucky woman that I am, will be right back.
Katie Anderson?
Tess, can you get that? So, our Katja, probably the most level-headed of the four of us, the ones I know about so far, with Katrina a close second. Katja panicked, scared out of her wits. All through the GCN troubles, calm in the face of whatever was coming, and now terrified. Thank God she has Tessa by her side. I need to move forward. Scan the future lines. Look for something that's brighter than all the others. There, a small cluster of lines, past Katja but not too far, and one in particular shining out like a beacon. Have to find my sister self in all this, somewhere. Shit, what was that? Like the whole line just stopped, went dark. Let's go back. Follow it to where it's still bright, then zero in on the strongest region. There she is, my sister self, looking so uncomfortable she can barely stop moving. She knows something's coming, can feel it. Now I slowly slide forward to see what happens to... There it is, a massive flash of brightness, then all dark. And just before the flash, my sister self rushing down and into the basement of her workplace building. She must be government or something, not an investigative journalist, perhaps a speechwriter or... No, not just the writer, the deliverer of those speeches. Governor or mayor or... Yes, mayor of the city. My sister self. Mayor. Holy shit. Where is she? She knows. There's something down here. A bomb. She found it, but too late. She's gone. And with her, all my access to her line. All right, Kat, think. A few things. First, I need to learn what's really going on here. Why anyone would set off a bomb in this civic building, killing not just my sister self, but so many others. Second, warn her well enough in advance to be able to prevent it, and maybe even the reason for the action in the first place. Third, see how far ahead of our timeline she is, so I can set the parameters around prevention. And finally, figure out how this event maps into our very different timelines, because none of us is a mayor or a politician of any kind. So all this tells me about what's going to happen in our lines is it's not good. So I'm going to begin this with the time. Follow my sister self back into the mechanical room in the basement. There's the bomb. Looks professional and very large, but I'm hardly an expert. Now hold that moment. Scan laterally. Upstairs to the offices. There. A date and time. 11:37 a.m. Friday, June 14th, 2047. 3 days, almost exactly from our time. And it all ends here. Deep breath. Do what needs to be done here. I'm moving back 2 days to Wednesday, her time. There, she's at home, wrestling with something. 6 in the morning and she's up, entirely unable to rest. Maybe she knows I'm about to call.
Hello? Can you hear me? I'm finally going nuts, and hearing words inside my skull with my scary alter ego put there. No, not nuts, just special. And I hope I'm not as scary as what you're going through. Am I really having a conversation with my own split personality self? Inside my own mind? No, you are not. But I need to warn you before I actually show up, standing in the room beside you. Prepare you for the shock of seeing me. Do I need to call the psychiatrist now, or can I just wait until this fantasy conversation is over first? Don't bother. Let me ask you a question. Do you see a light in the room beside you? A kind of glow? My vision is doing crazy things too. Is this where you tell me it's all normal? That cracking up is the least of my worries? You're an angel and I'm about to move this world and it's nothing like that. But Kat, is it Kat? My name is Catherine. Can't you even get that right? You'd think an angel or whatever would at least get the names on their list correct. Catherine, please check your bathroom. Confirm for us both that it's empty. Why would it not? Alright, I'm checking. See, nobody here, other than that strangely degenerating woman who used to have a good head for doing the right thing. Now close the door and give me a second. Is there really a point to all this? Holy shit! I tried to warn you. You're not crazy, Catherine. And I'm really here. Open the door, holding your hand. I'm here to help. Where? How did... Long story, but let's start with the where. I'm, as you probably guessed by looking at me, someone very closely related to you. In fact, as closely related as I can be. I'm you, Catherine. From a parallel reality, another time, an alternative existence. And I've discovered, don't ask me how, a way to move between realities, through both time and space, using that light you saw. Give me a moment. Well, if I'm really dreaming all this, I'm dreaming pain better than I ever thought possible. That hurts. Let me explain something to you, Catherine. I know you've been feeling particularly distressed these last few days, and I can tell you that there is a good reason for it. You have, as all of us do, a sort of sixth sense, an intuition that's off the charts, and it's telling you something, warning you there's some event coming that's not good, trying to drive you into action to prevent that event from happening. You're saying I feel like I'm about to explode with nervous tension because I'm sensing there are bad things coming? Have you ever worked in politics? Every day bad things happen. It goes with the job. Not bad the way this will be. And I need you to start focusing that energy of yours on working out what could really be coming. Why something catastrophic might happen, and who would cause it to happen. That's easy. You're talking about the terrorist threat. To shatter the government of this country, fragment it into tiny, disjointed slivers. Is this different from all the threats you've had in the past? Terrorists have been making those statements for decades. You really are from somewhere else, aren't you? Yes, scattered terrorist groups have wreaked havoc in the world for a very long time. I believe I've done my part in keeping this city free from the prejudices, the racial and religious discrimination that sort of activity breeds. But now we are truly in another kind of peril.
Internal terrorists. Those from inside our own walls. Part of our government staff. The clandestine off-the-radar part. Spy network, assassin network, intelligence agency, call it what you want. They've gone rogue. Somehow lost their way. And now offering to make sure our country becomes a better, less authoritarian place. By taking out the existing structure. And replacing it with their own. You're serious? How long has this threat been in place? Less than 24 hours. They've been very upfront about it. Very clear and very specific. The current government structure will be gone by the end of the week. And by next Monday, they will have assumed control. Cat. Catherine, may I call you that? My closest friends call me Cat. But I don't allow it in public. Not a good name for the political image. I don't doubt it, but it's never been a problem for me. You are Cat? Katie, to be more exact. And yes, my friends call me Cat. But Catherine, Cat, your timeline, it's ahead of ours. By a few days. This threat you're talking of hasn't appeared in our world. At least not yet. But we felt it. Knew through our connections with each other that something was wrong. Just as you feel that uncontrollable restlessness, we sense it as well. Perhaps not as strongly as you, but it's enough to tell us there's danger coming. And there is. For you. I can't tell you yet exactly what form it'll take, but you know though, don't you? I know what might happen. What would have happened if I hadn't shown up to talk to you? You're saying that it all might change, now that you've spoken to me. Whatever the threat is with your intelligence agency, it's still there. The only thing I can say is the specific nature of what they'll do, now that you've heard from me, and I'm on your radar. It's unlikely to be what it was when I first set out looking for you. Because when I tell you that they will indeed strike on Friday, you're not going to sit idle. And you need to know that, Catherine, you're my sister self. I'll do everything in my power to help you get through this. I would never have believed when I woke up this morning that my life could get any more unusual. But I'm glad we met, Katie. I think glad to have you on my side. Because in the days to come, we're going to need all the help we can get. So you know, I'll be watching you. I have your back, Catherine. Go out and do what you do. See if you can defuse this whole mess, you and your political associates. But remember, call on me if you need me. I'm always listening. And if you're ever in a very tight place, a situation you can't get out of, use the light. Step in. I promise you, it can save your life. I won't forget. You have, to my total surprise, made my day, Katie. Please come back if you have more news. And good luck with your own version of whatever mess this is. Thank you. Now watch. This might be you very soon, my sister self. A dangerous thing, trying to give information about the future without telling too much. But I will not let our sister go to her death in that explosion. Even if she just steps into the light, her line can still go on. And I'll pull her out myself if it comes to that. Alright, Kat, so now I go back to my own line and see, if I can, how this all affects what's going to happen to us. Because I know now for a certainty it will affect us. But first, Katja needs to know. Katja? Kat, tell me you have good news. Good and bad, my sister self. Good, we have another sister, further in the future than you and I. Bad, she'll not live out the week unless she does some incredible sleuthing at her end or gets major help from us. So, why are we both suffering? Is the same going to happen to us? Not the same, but we're certainly both in danger. So my best advice, until we know more, is keep your ears open. Something big is coming. And for you, probably very soon. I'll be as prepared as I can. Understand why you can't be more specific, but it is very nerve-wracking. We each have to face it in our own way, Katja. Just remember, I'm here for you. Always. We'll get through this. I know we will. All of us. Exactly. Talk soon. Tess, who's our new client? Kat, I'd like you to meet Mr. Robert Trelawney. He desperately needs your help. Robert, it's a pleasure. What can I do for you?
Call me Rob, Kat. I'm afraid I have a very difficult situation on my hands. My girlfriend has disappeared. Went to work yesterday and never came back. Not a word from her since.
Where exactly does she work, Rob?
She always says she can't tell me. Top secret, you know. One of those spy agencies that we can't talk about.